Ever since I was a kid, the thought of growing up and getting a job was terrifying. I'd see adults around me going through the motions, and it just looked empty. Like they were stuck in this loop, doing what they were supposed to do, but never really living. I didn't want that. I didn't want to become that. I remember watching people wake up at the same time every morning, drinking the same coffee, driving the same route, coming home just to do it all over again. It felt like watching a machine run its cycle, efficient, predictable, but completely lifeless. And no one seemed to question it. They just accepted that this is what life was. Even as a kid, something about that felt off to me. Even back then, the idea of conforming to what society expected felt wrong. Like there was this invisible script I was supposed to follow. Go to school, get good grades, get a job, work until you're old, and then what? Hope you're still healthy enough to enjoy whatever's left of your life. I never wanted that, but as I got older, I realized how hard it was to avoid it. Everywhere I turned, people were talking about careers, stability, promotions, and it all sounded like a trap. I started to feel like an outsider, like I was broken for not wanting the same things. And trust me, I tried to want those things. I thought maybe if I just worked harder, if I just pushed myself to care, it would start to make sense. But it never did. It was like trying to convince myself to like a song that just didn't click, no matter how many times I would play it. Everyone else seemed fine with the idea of working a real job, but the thought of it just made me feel trapped, like I was signing up for a life on autopilot. I tried to make it work. I've done the whole clock in, clock out routine, sat through meetings that felt pointless, pretending to care about stuff that didn't matter to me. And every time it felt like I was just faking it. Like I was playing a role I never auditioned for. The strangest part is how easily people accept it. Like when I'd mention feeling stuck or restless, the response was always the same. That's just how life is. As if being unfulfilled was just a normal part of adulthood. Like you weren't supposed to expect anything better. I've always wanted freedom, not just in the sense of time, but in how I spend my energy, like my focus, my creativity. But when I looked around, it seemed like freedom wasn't an option. Just get a job, work your way up, and then maybe, if you're lucky, retire before you're too old to actually enjoy life. I used to wonder if maybe I was just lazy. Maybe I didn't have enough ambition, but then I realized it's not about laziness, it's about purpose. I don't want to spend my days waiting for 5 o'clock for Friday, for vacation. I want to be present. I want to be excited to wake up, to feel like what I'm doing actually matters, at least to me. And it's not even about avoiding work. I don't mind putting in effort. I actually love putting time into things that feel meaningful. But there's a huge difference between working hard at something that excites you and forcing yourself through something just because you're supposed to. That's the part that never sat right with me. I started thinking about how much time I spend playing video games, exploring digital worlds, chasing quests, and it hit me. I didn't love games just because they were fun. I loved them because they gave me a sense of purpose, goals that felt rewarding, freedom to choose my own path. So why can't life be like that? Why do we accept this narrow definition of success? Who decided that success means a job title or a paycheck or a retirement plan? I've seen people with all the right achievements, good jobs, nice houses, steady incomes, who are miserable. And I've seen people who live in ways that seem completely unconventional, yet they wake up excited every day. That alone tells me that maybe success isn't as black and white as we've been told. I'm not saying I have it all figured out. Far from it. But I've stopped trying to force myself into a mold that doesn't fit. I've stopped feeling guilty for wanting something different, something that makes me feel alive. For me, success isn't about money or status. It's about freedom. It's about living on my own terms, even if that means breaking away from what's normal. I know it's not for everyone, but maybe, just maybe, some of you feel the same way. Maybe you've been trying to convince yourself that this is just how life is supposed to be, but deep down, you want something more. And if that's the case, maybe it's worth questioning the script that we've been handed. Maybe it's okay to not have all the answers yet. maybe the real mistake is assuming that there's only one right way to live. I'm not here to give advice. I'm just sharing my thoughts and my journey. But if any of this resonates with you, you're not alone. And maybe we don't have to have it all figured out to start living on our own terms. I'm still figuring out what my version of success looks like, but I'm done chasing someone else's idea of it. And honestly, that feels like a good start. If you've listened this far, thank you for sticking around. I don't have all the answers, but I think conversations like this are worth having. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you again.